Exodus 34, verses 6 and 7. And the Lord passed before him, before Moses, the day God, when he was praying, God, show me your glory, and God passed before him. And the Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord, that's Jehovah, the Lord merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abounding in goodness and truth, rich in mercy, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgressions and sin, by no means clearing the guilty. He doesn't pass over sin. It has to be accounted for. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the third and fourth generations. Remember, talking of the triumph of mercy. So sin must be accounted for. Then judgment or mercy can be applied. But sin must be accounted for. You must be called to order. And if God is no more calling you to order, he has moved on from you. God still has standards. No matter what country you're in, God has standards. He doesn't break his standards. And he says, raise up the standards. He doesn't demean the standards. A liar is not representing God. God cannot lie. We are told in the book of Titus. One thing God cannot do, he can't lie. Look at Matthew 23, verse 23. Jesus said, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, and they were praying it, boasting about it, to show that they were the ones holding the work of God. We are the ones, if not us. How can it move? That was the issue. Always showing off the spirit of the Pharisee. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, for you pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law. What are the weightier matters? Justice and mercy and faith. These you ought to have done without leaving the others undone. He said you should have tithed, you should have done all this, and pay attention to even things that are more serious than tithing to show off. Jesus didn't cancel tithes. Neither did Paul nor Peter. He said you ought to do all those things. Complete. He said he behoves us to fulfill all righteousness. You make a budget in your family. And you map out school fees. You know this, you know this, you know that. Well, you have it in mind even when you don't write it down. And you think God is stupid, and you're the only wise person. God is stupid. He's running world evangelism without a financial plan for it. You can choose to disobey him, but don't say that God has no plan. Don't ever say that. Don't get him angry. So you see, there are things you should, justice, mercy, faith, weighty things, even of the law. Even under the law, mercy. Mercy is undeserved. You don't earn it. That's where many people miss it. Mercy is undeserved. Excuse me, people of God. Jesus said we should lay up treasures in heaven. How will you lay up treasures in heaven if you don't obey God financially? He was talking of money matters. He said, make to yourself friends of unrighteous mammon, corruptible money. He said, make friends of it. How will you lay up treasures in heaven if you're not ready to obey God in financial dealings? 10% is too much for God. And he's showing you mercy and you think, hey, because I'm still progressing, yet I'm disobeying him. It has happened many times. There's a time of grace.